Hey everybody, this is James Tierney with TierneyEducation.com. I had a question brought to me by one of my students about the contract curve when we're looking at an Edgeworth box. And this was the example they asked me to make a video about, where we are given a few utility functions here for person A and person B, and then we're told that there's a total of 12 x's and 12 y's, and then they want to find the equation and then illustrate the contract curve on an Edgeworth box. So let's go ahead and begin. First, I want to create the Edgeworth box. So this is going to be our Edgeworth box. And I'll make a few videos explaining Edgeworth box here, probably this semester or if not over the summer. But quickly, the Edgeworth box, we're going to have A over here on the bottom left. This is going to be A's origin down here. So that's 0 there. And if we know there's 12 x's and 12 y's total, that means the size of this box over here, we're going to be going to 12. Up here, we're going to be going to 12. So you're going to have a 12 by 12 box because the dimensions of this Edgeworth box are just how many total x's, total y's there are. Now we've got two people, so we're going to make the origin for B be up here in the top right. So all of the x's for A is going to be like your regular xy plane, where x is going to go to the right, y's are going to go up. And then all we're doing is really flipping this. So we've got y's going down for B, and we're going to have x's going to the left for B. To make this a little easier, let's go ahead and kind of cut this in half so we know that this is 6 and 6, this is 6 and 6. It's just going to help us overall when we go and graph this thing. So I guess the first thing we really should talk about is what the heck is a contract curve? So a contract curve shows all Pareto efficient points. So it's connecting all the Pareto efficient points. What do we mean by Pareto efficient? If something is Pareto efficient, a Pareto efficient point says you cannot make anyone better off without making someone worse off. Pretty much a Pareto efficient point just means that, if we were to do some sort of trade, one person's going to become worse off than we were before. So therefore they wouldn't voluntarily engage in that trade. So that's what we're trying to find. Well, what's going to happen? Like, how do we know? And we can go through the theory behind this, and I'll probably do a video with a little bit more theory behind this. Let me make this a little smaller for us so we can calculate it out here. But just for the simplicity of this video, this contract curve is just going to be where the MRS of A is going to equal the MRS of B. If you don't know what MRS, the marginal rate of substitution, is, I don't have a video for that yet, but I will go ahead and make one. We're really just trying to say how much of y am I willing to give up in order to get one more of my x value. Now let's go ahead and try and calculate this MRS for each one of these, so A and B. Really, MRS, as a little bit of a review, even though I said I wasn't really going to do it, MRS is always your marginal utility of x over your marginal utility of y. It's also going to be the slope of your indifference curve. All that stuff is going to, put a negative sign in front of MRS. It's always going to be negatives because you're giving up something. There's your negative. So for this first utility function, these are perfect substitutes. I do have some videos on perfect substitutes and complements, so you can check those out. With this one right here, right, each additional x, I'm going to get 2 value. Each additional y, I'm going to get 1 value. So that one's pretty simple to see that the MRS is -2. The MRS for B, this one's a little more difficult. So the MRS for a Cobb-Douglas, we need to go ahead and figure out what that MUX over MUY is. So the marginal utility of x here, right? So first derivative with respect to x was going to be 1/4. And then we're going to have x to the negative 3/4 y to the 3/4. Make this a little smaller again, try to keep everything on one, divided by 3/4 x to the 1/4 y to the negative 1/4. Now, if you're not the best with calculus, you can pause this and go back and see how to take this first derivative with respect to x, with respect to y. If you're in a class like Penn State ECON 302, where you're not required to do calculus, you actually have been told this before, and it is in one of the other videos that I made, where the MRS of Cobb-Douglas is always just alpha over beta times y over x. But, we don't really need to worry about that too much because we'll actually do the calculus in this example. So that's what we have. So if we go ahead and equal this out, what's going to happen? Well, 1/4 over 3/4 right here, that's going to turn into 1/4 times 4/3, or just 1/3, which is 1/3. And then when I look at my exponents here, negative 3/4 minus 1/4, that's just going to put my x in the bottom. And then my y is going to be in the top, which again, we've already seen, right? Because we talked about that up here, right? We talked about in this top left-hand corner, about what that margin utility is always going to be. So at the end of the day, what do we have? At the end of the day, I'm going to scroll this up a little bit. At the end of the day, my MRS of A is -2. I don't know why the marker all of a sudden became thicker, but we're just going to live with it. Equals, and then this is going to be y, but this is yb divided by 3xb. And the reason why we need to put the x and yb is because we're going to get an equation here. Oh, I forgot the negative sign. Don't forget your negative signs for your MRSs. Your negative signs. But the reason why we need to have the yb and xb is because we're going to get an equation. We need to know which origin to come out of. So if I do the algebra here, right, I multiply both sides, right, basically do some cross multiplication, solve for y, I'm going to get yb is equal to 6xb. This right here is your contract curve. That is the equation for your contract curve. Now we just need to graph this up here. Well, we're going to be able to do that pretty straightforward. First thing I need you to know, contract curve is always going to include your bottom left corner and your top right corner. And that's because if I give everything to A, which would be up here in the top right corner, or if I give everything to B, which would be down here, meaning A has nothing, obviously if I try and trade, I'm gonna have to give something up from those people, which will make them worse off. So then, I'm at a point where I can't become better off without making someone worse off. And that's the definition of being Pareto efficient. So what do we see here? Well, this is just the equation y equals 6x. So we got a slope of 6, intercept of 0. So for every 1 unit of x on the b side, I got to go up 6. So what we're going to see is we're going to see a point here, which would be 1 and 6. And then we're going to see a point here, which would be 2 and 12. So we're going to see this line come all the way down here. It's going to be a nice linear line. This is actually going to hit at 10, right? Because if 2 x's are going to B, then there's 10 left over for A. And then this goes along the edge because that's where we have our Pareto efficient points. So there you have it. This is how you end up graphing your contract curve given these utility functions. We went ahead and figured out what the MRS is of each of them, and then we're end up graphing it on an Edgeworth box. If you need any extra help, please feel free to reach out. Again, you can probably just search through YouTube, find some examples of MRS if that's what's tripping you up, or Edgeworth box, that's what's tripping you up. But either way, I hope this helps you kind of know how we try and get this contract curve onto an Edgeworth box. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, all those things. Leave a comment. We'll talk to you later.